Hey everybody, this is Brett. I know, I say that every time. But it's like my logo, It's like my logo for my business. And wow, that's great. I already have 4 thumbs ups. If everybody could give me a thumbs up in advance, that would be awesome. Before I even do anything. Let me fix my butt cushion. I really need to fix this butt cushion. And I swore already, I already said but. That's not really that much of a swear word, though. So, thanks everybody for joining me tonight. You know, it's really important that I get together with y'all, and I sure wish that a lot more of you would comment. And I know that some of you don't comment because you don't have a Gmail account. So, YouTube is controlled by Google, which has email, which is called Gmail. And in order to comment, you have to be logged into YouTube. Hi, Niece Pie. And so in order to log into YouTube, you have to have a Gmail account. And if you would just go and open an extra email account with Gmail, then you could make comments on the videos. So that would be great. So, hi, Joe, and hi, Mirza. Yeah, Mirza. Sorry, my eyes are bad. So I have a whole slew of things to talk about tonight. And, yes, the first one is I'm not going to lie. And then I'll tell you what the rest of that is. And then I want to talk about my understanding of property or rentals, working on mental changes, my experience with quitting things, new setup rules or new set rules for the coronavirus. I lost my favorite tool. The news is dramatic. People love adrenaline, you know that. I'm not doing any vaccines. People can still get together. My simple mind can figure out simple things. One of my biggest problems, thank the customers. I know deeper truths about sex and relationships. Read Carlos's review. The electric company cut down the trees, but it turned out to be a good thing. Grace, thank you, Grace. That is so sweet. Grace, if you ever need anything, you can just call me. And you can get my phone number. See how cute she is? You can get my phone number off the internet. Okay. Electric company, added more holes to the orthotics, and wait till you see how thick they're getting. Thick. I'm going to show off one of the newest rollers. It's really beautiful. It's a bird's eye maple roller. When you think a bad thought, then something happens. We're reliant upon each other. We are so reliant upon each other. Some of us are scared. The universe throws me a bone. I worked my ass off today. Look at what you've got. And positive affirmations. And, while I've mentioned those two things, you could write, if you're able, in a comment, the things that you have that you're grateful for. And you could also write down a few positive affirmations to share with us, and I will read every freaking one of them. I will stop. I don't care if I'm up until 1 p.m. tonight. I'll read all the positive affirmations and the things that you're grateful for tonight. I'm eating less and feeling better all the time. And I know how you feel. How is it that I know how you feel? Free eggs. Free eggs with orders. Imagine that. Getting some fresh, organically fed, totally range free, not within any kind of a fenced area at all. The best freaking eggs that you can possibly get, with shells that are thick and membranes that are amazingly thick and bright yellow yolks. And the greener it gets around here, the better quality and healthy the eggs are going to get. And I can send them with orders to people in gratitude for placing the orders. I'm going to put the coronavirus into context tonight. You can talk to people live on Facebook or Skype. You can come stay at my Airstream and ask for a discount coupon code. Now that is a lot of stuff. That is a hell of a lot of stuff, y'all. And so let's get to it. So I'm not going to lie. I am somewhat scared of the coronavirus that is spreading around the world right now. But when I start to focus on the negative aspects and the negative thoughts connected to that, I get bad feelings physically. You ever thought a really bad thought, like a self-deprecating or something like that, and you immediately, it's amazing, your body immediately felt bad, like maybe you shuddered with that, you shuddered. Or maybe you just got chills down your spine, like bad chills, like you were watching a bad movie. That's why I don't watch movies. I don't watch especially bad movies. Because for some reason, people get off on all of that. And I have never really understood it. Maybe people really need an adrenaline rush. That's another one of the things. But yes, I'm somewhat scared, but I live out, clear the hell out in the country. I don't have a lot of exposure to people because, I don't like that many people. So open. And maybe I will always go through the U-Scan. I always go through the U-Scan anyway. I like to bag my own groceries. And maybe I will put a paper towel down on the weigher thing when I weigh all my produce out. But I get a lot of my produce from local sources here, and pretty soon I'm going to be getting a lot of produce out of my gardens. And I'm going to get a second garden. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So if you do buy something from me, you can pretty much count that there won't be any coronavirus in your package. So it's not that I'm that afraid of getting it. It's that what I'm afraid of, what I'm somewhat scared of, is that, people have become so dependent upon all of these things where they converge. And they have all these interactions, these, baseball games and football games and concerts and dining out and all of these things. And, I don't typically do those things anymore. I haven't for a long time for different reasons. One, like I said, I live clear the hell out in the country. And I don't even interact with people around here that much, other than I'm going to sell eggs to a few people. But it's the domino effect that's scary for me. Okay, so we're going to talk about more stuff in these regards, but we're going to bring you up, because it's really important to bring everybody up, including myself, and to not be too scared, and to understand the reality. And the reality is that there's a purpose for everything. And that creation or God or Jesus or Buddha or whatever you want to call it has everything under control. And anyone that has faith Anyone that sees and feels and understands the way things are knows that that's true, right? Okay, my understanding of property or rentals. Okay, so I live on this property that had people living in it in the past that dumped garbage and left tires all over the place. The way the guy made a living was he had a barn and he repaired cars in the barn. And so people would come here and get new tires or brakes or whatever, and then he would throw the old brakes out in the dirt along with some garbage and stuff. And so one of the things that I've done since I moved here is cleaned up stuff like that. I've hauled many a trailer to the junk. And here it's such a poor county. Yancey County is so poor that they allow people to take all their junk and garbage for free, and recycling obviously for free. But over in Brevard, where I lived before, you pay by the pound for your garbage. And that's good. But my understanding of property or rentals is not really like what other people think about, in that, and thanks once again, Grace, so much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. But my understanding and my attitude, like my attitude towards a property, it's obviously not to like try and improve the value of this property, because I don't own it. I don't own this place. And I've never felt like owning a property. I've always been more so interested in being like, in a community, or how I am right now, which is just renting a property where I'm not tied down to it. But even though I don't own it, and even though I'm not trying to improve the value, what I am trying to do is make it better in the ways that I think are better. And in places that I lived before, it wasn't possible, because the ways that I think having it better are having a chicken coop, having a bunch of chickens and gardens. Over in Brevard at Rainbow Lake, which was an old resort, the guy that owned that, his name was, I'm trying to put that out of my head. His name was Beach, Beach, just like going to the beach. And he didn't want to have any part of allowing us to have a garden or chickens or anything like that, because that's not what it traditionally was there. And that's a whole nother subject there too. Like, people get into this tunnel mindset of wanting things to stay the same all the time. And that is not good, to be stuck. That's why you don't want to be too conservative. There are a lot of people that are too conservative, and they're just like so against change. There are other people that are too progressive, and they're just not even in the ballpark. They're not here. They're in some world in 2247. That's how I am. I tend to be a lot more like that. And change is all good for me. I love it. But yeah, I want to improve the property here, and I happen to have an owner that pretty much allows me to do my thing here. He grew up on a farm, from what I understand, and so I'm blessed. But I'm not just blessed. I manifested this. I'm manifesting my own destiny by the things that I'm doing. I'm talking to you here and now. I'm making an effort to do this because I enjoy doing it, and because I know that I might sell some of my products, and I know that you really need the things that I have to offer. It's an exchange. And it's not just a monetary exchange. It's not just a mental exchange. It's also an emotional change, especially right now, because tomorrow is the full moon. And the full moon is the emotional time. And it's really intense for me, and it's already gotten intense for me, because the full moon is in Virgo. And Virgo is what my moon is in, my natal chart. And so it all totally makes sense. sort of. Don't expect, or don't be surprised. Expect to be potentially emotional over the next several days, if not already. Full moon tomorrow. But so I try and do what I can on this property to make things better. And I found another garden space that I think looks pretty good and pretty clean and pretty untouched by any yada yada from the past. And I just need to make sure that the soil is good, and I need to go put a few pallets over the little stream so that I can walk over it without getting all muddy. But yeah, I need to put up another little chicken wire fence around the area so the chickens don't go in there and munch all my greens. But yeah, okay, let's move on. So working on mental changes now. Yeah, so physically, I went through a lot of kind of aggressive healing over the last couple of months. And that has subsided to a degree. And now I'm noticing that mentally, I'm starting to be more accepting of things that I can change. For instance, yesterday I was watching a really great video. I'm not remembering names very well tonight, but I've seen him. This guy, he's a very intelligent and scientific holistic teacher. And he was talking about how the things that you say are really things, and they can really impact a lot with the law of attraction. They can really impact your attitude and demeanor and things that you draw towards you, draw to yourself. And he gave the example of how before he'd go on stage, people would say to him, break a leg, the old saying, break a leg. And he would say, no, I don't think that that's a good idea to say that, And so the affirmations that you say to yourself, and once again, you can write down some affirmations, and I'm going to go through those in a second. Positive affirmations and things that you're grateful for. And once again, if you don't have a Gmail account, and that's the reason that you're not commenting, by all means, go and get yourself a Gmail email account so that you can log into YouTube and you'll be able to comment. It's not really a big deal. Okay, so anyways, he told people to not say that, and then he created an acceptable alternative to say something like "do really good." And he actually gave an example of how they said to one guy, break a leg, and then he went out on the stage and he fell off the stage and broke his leg. And I know that's not always going to happen. That's hardly ever going to happen. But it's an example of how, I believe that it is true that you create your own destiny. And it's not just something that you say, it's also having a real belief in and a real physical ability to achieve whatever you're saying. But even just practicing saying things. And so I'm saying to myself, well, maybe instead of getting out my aggression by swearing sometimes, maybe I could quell that to a degree and not swear as much. And I imagine that that's exactly what I will do. If you think about it, somebody that's really, really healthy is probably not all pissed off and saying the F word and this and that all the time, right? Okay. So my experience quitting things, I'm not sure exactly why I wrote that one down, but for those of you that are trying to quit something, I have quit so many things, food-wise, smoking, drinking, bad friends. I'm thinking about having a traditional relationship. That wasn't good for me. That was causing me all kinds of stress. There's so many different things that I've quit that I was really addicted to and that I still need to work on, like the swearing, etc. But what you want to do is you want to generally gradually wean your way off of that thing. And you do that by finding adequate substitutes. And that adequate substitute is something that is similar, has similar qualities to the thing that you're trying to get rid of. So if you're trying to get rid of dairy, then perhaps almond milk or some other kind of a mucousy milk, rice milk, another kind of, all nuts and seeds are very mucus forming and fatty, etc., and they make great dairy substitutes. And then sometimes it might be some kind of an herb, like for quitting smoking. Skullcap is excellent for calming your mind. And that's really what, like, when you pick up a cigarette and you get that nicotine in your system, you get like a rush, but you get this chill, like, you got your fix. Okay, so you have to educate yourself on the adequate substitutes. And bear in mind, I have so much experience with all these kinds of things, and I do holistic consultations, and I'm just totally willing and wanting to help you with whatever problem that you might have. Diet-wise, quitting something, relationships, we can talk about anything like that, and I can be your best friend for an hour right, I've got it for $50 on my website, but if you can't afford that and you can only afford $25, I'll do it just to help you and because I really enjoy it. I'm not joking. I honestly love talking to people, helping them with their healing. Let's look at some comments. Okay. Hi, Grace. Hi, Mario. Hi, Mirza. Hi, MP. Hi, Connor. Hey, Connor, are you going to help me with the video or what? Connor's going to help me make a Millet Hole pillow review video. Right, Connor? So, let's see. Anybody else? Hi, Catherine Swanland. Hi, Mirza Fadik. Hi, Joe. Okay. Onions help like garlic. Garlic is good. I can't believe I quit things. Creating your own destiny. Yes. Inuhat destiny is Tonali. Inuhati destiny is Tonali. My sister and I wanted to thank you for your pillows. They are so comfortable, and I would recommend them highly. See, ask Catherine. She loves my pillows. Lots of tears, fears coming out. Well, that is good. That is good. And just stay cool. Stay cool, because this world, it needs to change in so many ways. We all know this. I've been talking about this for a long time. And things weren't happening very fast. But I'll tell you what, something like this coronavirus can really get people starting to think and change. And these things must happen. And there are a lot of aspects of it that we really don't understand. Why creation is doing this? Why are they forcing us? Other things are kind of obvious, like some of the things that people will still be able to do, for instance, will be to able to go outside and enjoy nature. You're not going to catch any virus out in hiking in nature or just sitting out on your lawn or going for a walk around your block. I've told you time and time again how disappointing it is for me that when I go out anywhere that I've lived, in any place, I've dozens and dozens and dozens of places. I've moved around so many times, and I'll go out and walk in neighborhoods in Tucson or Ogden, Utah, or Pagosa Springs, Colorado, or Durango, or God knows how many places. And I don't see other people, hardly many, out walking. But you know what? Maybe now people will go out of their houses and not drive, and maybe they'll go out and walk like I did yesterday. It was a beautiful day. I really wanted to get out today, but I was so busy. I just kept working. That's kind of what I've been doing lately. Just work, 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 work. Whether it be on the computer, my ass will get sore, and I'll be like, okay, go do woodworking, or go clean the trailer, or do something, and I just stay busy. And that's another thing that you can do to keep your mind off of worrying. And a lot of you know this. But if you get stuck, stop and force yourself to get busy doing something that you know you need to do. Going for a walk is such a really powerful thing because you're getting out into nature. And when you're looking at trees, when you're listening to birds, when you're feeling the wind of the breeze and smelling flowers and all of those things, it's amazing. It's really amazing. Okay, so see, I told you, emotional. It always does that for me because I'm a Cancer, and the moon rules Cancer. Whenever it's a full moon, it's always the most emotional time for me. Okay, so there's new set rules for the coronavirus, and if you watch various videos on the internet and you think about stuff logically, okay, so right now we're having a big problem in places where they're very huggy-lovey, kissy. Most places are Italy and France. Like France has not, I don't think they've been hit near as much as the Italians. But that's probably going to change because one person I saw on a news in France said that they refuse doing the kissing thing. Well, I think that they're going to have to for a while. And so we're not like that here, and hopefully people here are smart enough to start thinking and just taking some precautions. It's not going to mean, and people are going to overreact. People are going to overreact. A lot of people are going to freak out and overreact. And some people do, maybe if you're really old, you need to take extra precautions. If you're really old and sick, you need to take extra precautions because if you get it, it's possibly a lot higher possibility of get your people are going to freak out. And I think that Americans aren't going to freak out as much. And we're lucky, okay? We're lucky that we have extra time. We have these two things in between us and the other continents, and that is oceans. And we're blessed to have those oceans in more ways than one, people. A lot of different ways. But we've got time. We've got time to be able to prepare ourselves up here. To start getting used to living, for a while anyway, at least, a different kind of way a little bit. And just taking some precautions. That's all there is to it. You know, we're not used to not just picking our noses and rubbing our eyes and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of us don't wash our hands very often. And we're just going to have to change that. And they're going to have to do some things where at stores and restaurants and stuff. I already saw one thing that they do at a restaurant where they kind of are creating enclosures in between the tables and stuff. But for me, like many of you, I can't afford to go out and eat, and I prefer to eat at home anyway. Additionally, a lot of you can get going with growing some of your own food at home. If you've got extra time at home, why not? Why not? Think of these things as a good thing, okay? The attitude is so important. Your attitude is so hugely important whenever it comes to any kind of a change. And you have to just think of the positive aspects of whatever it is. Okay? Positive aspects. Okay, so I lost my favorite tool. But guess what? I found it. And this is another example of thinking positively and not freaking out. So, 2 days ago, I was working on wood rollers out on the porch, and I knocked out a whole bunch of them. I finished a bunch of them. And I always use this little 6-inch ruler. In fact, for a whole lot of things that I do, whether it be wood rollers or just a lot of different things, this is a really valuable little tool that I use. And it goes all the way to 64ths. See that? Goes all the way down to 64ths. And I could not find it. And I'd said to myself several times before that, man, I'm lucky that I haven't lost that little tool because I use it so often. And isn't that how it is? When you use something a lot, then there's a lot higher possibility of your misplacing it or losing it completely. And so I couldn't find it, and I'm like, it's so frustrating. I don't know about you guys. Isn't it frustrating to lose something, especially if you misplace it and then 1 minute later you can't find it? for everything that you can possibly do, you're like, it was right here. It was right here. Where the hell could it have possibly gone in the last 1 minute? And sometimes I think, you're getting senile, you're getting old, or you must be detoxing a lot. You're eating too much peanut butter and it's clogging your brain. All kinds of thoughts that go through your head. And that's another subject too. But it's funny that I've learned from experience that it's most likely that when you lose something like that and it just all of a sudden disappears into thin air, you put it somewhere underneath somewhere or on top of something, and it's just hiding it's temporarily hiding, and it will show up soon. And by God, guess what? There it is. It was stuck on the bottom of the rollers. Now, I don't know exactly how it got stuck on the bottom of the rollers. You know, sometimes things get stuck and then you lift them up and they're stuck on the bottom of there, but you don't see them until you turn over the roller, and there it is, and you're like, oh. So, the moral of the story is that things sometimes have to play themselves out. And you have to be patient. And it's the hardest thing for me. Most of you probably have a lot more patience than I do. I don't know. But that's one of my problems, and that's another one of the things that I wrote down here that we'll get to, and I'll go into more depth in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm not doing any... Wait, no. People love adrenaline. People love adrenaline. And so you should know that people love adrenaline, and there is a business out there that just happens to cater. There's a whole lot of businesses, actually, that just happen to cater to that. But one of them is called the news. And I was listening to a video the other day with Bernie Sanders, and it was a fairly, I think it was not a recent video. Bernie was talking about how the news is owned by businesses, and that the news, for the most part, is a business. Even PBS is like, they are obligated. They are obligated to the people that donate to them. And so if they do not have a newscast that's catering towards their agenda, the liberal leaning left, even though they're supposed to be non-biased, okay? PBS, you would think that the public broadcasting system in our country, which is, the same channel that Mr. Rogers used to be on, Sesame Street, etc. Well, they have a newscast, and you can watch that on YouTube at 6 o'clock weekdays. And I usually do. But you have to keep in mind that every single one of them is going to be biased and or exaggerating and or trying to create drama for a reason. People love drama and adrenaline. And so if you know this, I want you to keep this in the back of your mind. Oh, that when they're trying to sell advertising, or with PBS's case, trying to please the people that are donating to them, then they're going to be biased. And they're going to be exaggerating. And they're going to try and get you to, listen to the music, for God's sake. Okay, let me see if I can do it for you. Dun 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 dun. It's better than any. It's realize it for what it is. It's better than any horror flick that you've ever seen because it's real, right? It's potentially real. But they're not going to show you all of the healthy people out there. They're not going to come on with a story that's some boring story where it's oh, people in Denmark had a really great day today. They were riding their bicycles and they were enjoying a meal and they were growing a garden and reading a book. You're never going to see anything like that on the news because people would be like, well, that's boring. That's so boring. Turn it on Fox News. I want to find out what obnoxious thing President Trump did today. Or turn it on CNN. I want to find out who's slamming President Trump today. So put it into context, okay? Put it into context. We're going to put some other things into context in a few minutes. And understand that what Bernie said was right. The news is a business. It's a business where they are making money. And some of them have taken one side. You don't think that Fox News was blossomed out of nowhere for no reason, do you? There was a need. There was a demand. There was a right conservative agenda demand. And the other newscasts weren't providing that. And so 10 or 20 years ago or whenever it got popular, Fox News said, hey, you know what? Why don't we take the Rush Limbaugh side? Why don't we be friends with him? And always have a right opinion agenda, yada, yada. And then we can compete. We can create this thing. Wherever there's a demand for something that's not being filled, somebody is going to jump in. It's just like a parasite. You got some animal that died on the road, and you see it sitting there. And, well, if one parasite's not going to eat it, another one will come along. A crow will fly down and peck at it and eat it. Something's going to take care of the job. And so that's where Fox News comes in. They fly down and they start eating the heart and eating the skin and, Okay. So I'm not doing any vaccines, and we are blessed. There are so many things. So many things that we are blessed to be able to have, and that one of those things is freedom, at least to a degree. And if you live in China right now, you're pretty much forced to do whatever the government tells you to do. But I do not foresee a day when the government is able to tell me that I have to do me and millions of people that would say, oh no, we're not going to be doing your vaccine for any kind of a virus. So we're blessed. We're blessed, and yeah. So people can still get together outdoors, like I was saying before. And there's a lot of things you can do. And one of the things that you could do if you wanted to was you could come here and stay in my Airstream, Airbnb. Oh, and I put it on Vrbo yesterday. And that trailer, it's nice. It's starting to get warm now. It's going to be really beautiful and green and flowers. And so if you live anywhere within driving distance, and the gas will probably be cheap, if you live anywhere within a reasonable driving distance of the Western WNC, Western North Carolina, then you could come here, and it's cheap to stay in it. It's $24 a night. And you could enjoy the outdoors. You could go fishing. You could hang out with me and Chakra and the chickens and enjoy a nice little cheap vacation. Contact me, Brett at brettsnaturalhealth.com. Let's check the messages. Okay. Okay, so Catherine Swanland loves her pillows, and Joe, creating your own destiny. Yes, and Nuhati does it. Okay, I can't believe I quit things. Garlic is good. Onions help like garlic. Okay, yeah, I eat a lot of onions and garlic, Mike. They're yummy. I've eaten garlic and onions with damn near every meal. Not with the peanut butter, though. I can still help make a video, but right now I'm strapped of cash and time. Had to take my cat to the vet. Oh, sorry, Connor. And I was planning on saving for a road trip at the end of the month. Well, you could come here. Unless you live in, like, Oregon, that would be a bit long. So, I got to work more now. Okay? All right, Connor. Brett, have you been? How have you been? Haven't seen you since the longest, my friend. Hey, Victor. Hey, Victor. Well, you just have to tune in, Victor. I've been on here every Sunday night for the last several weeks. Helen. Hello, Brett. Nice to see you and hear you. God bless you. You have such a good, caring heart. Thank you, Terry. Grace totally agrees. I cut back on the sugar and chocolate bars. Chocolate bars. Thanks, Brett. Keep it up. Getting out of hand. Hilarious. Oh, my God. Hilarious. Oh, my God. I'm laughing and wheezing at the same time. Oh, my God. Terry, you're wheezing? You might have the coronavirus. I like boring, a.k.a. gardening. Yes, John, yes. Boring and gardening and reading books. Yes. See, isn't it interesting how, like, people that like that kind of thing, they're a lot safer than people that are going out to, like, movies. So, it's all coming around. I'm telling you, this thing, it's going to be hard for a lot of us, and even some people that really don't deserve it. But you just have to trust. You just have to trust that it's all good. So, I have a terrible flu right now. Feels like the damn coronavirus, though. Trying to fight it for a week now. Terrible chest congestion. Any suggestions, anybody, please? Thanks. Okay, Terry. So there's, and everyone should know that there is a really great formula that I have. In fact, I have a bottle of it right here. This stuff is really good respiratory relief from Grandma's Herbs in St. George, Utah. And I used to sell Grandma's Herbs when I was a massage therapist, and people would come back and buy this over and over again when they got colds and flus. And it really gets the phlegm moving in your lungs. And for pain, you know what the best thing is? This is a new one. This is recent. It's why can't I remember that? It's a tree leaf, and it's new on the market, and some people are, see if somebody help me out here. It's a tree leaf, and it comes in a green powder, and one of the names of it is green mango. I have a bunch of different kinds from my friend Jared. I have green mango and rose, and this one is super green Borneo. Look that up for me, will you? Green Borneo. And this stuff, it's kind of a strong tea. I like to make it in teas, and it's a green powder, like I said, and it really kills the pain. I got like some kind of a cold or flu about 3 or 4 months ago, and I got it from going to the open mic, and my lungs just burned, and my lungs and throat just burned. And I made tea out of this, and it really got me through. It like numbs you. It's called, what is it called, y'all? It's called, starts with a K, I think. Not kombucha. It's called, why can't I remember that? So some people say it's kind of stimulating, like makes them a little bit high or something, like, you know. But I don't feel any of that. I just feel kind of a numbing effect, and it really gets you through pain. It really helps with pain. Anyways, so yeah, gardening rocks, having rabbits, chickens, and maybe a guard goose to help take care of the chickens. A guard goose. That might be a good idea. Tune in later, Brett. Having a hell of a stomach flu. Take care. I am sorry about that, Nisi Pie. I'm sorry to hear that. In my country, coronavirus real bad, and I think it's ruining my life and my relation with people. What country is that, Nicholas? What country is that? I'm sorry to hear that, man. You gotta hang in there and listen to this. Listen to the rest of this presentation that I've got for you. I've got some more ideas. You know, you got to keep a positive mindset. And so far, nobody's written to South Korea. Yeah, I know. South Korea is being hit hard with it. And, you know, think of the things that you can do. Think of the things that you're still able to do. Get back to nature, you know? You can still do that. And it's hard to change when you're used to doing a particular lifestyle. It's so hard to change. But you have to really think of, be grateful for the things that you still have, and think of the things that you still can do, and think of some positive affirmations. I was asking y'all to write down some, Joe, think of some positive affirmations that you can share with people. And Nicholas, think of something that you can write down and share with other people, because that's another thing. Helping people helps you to keep your mind off of your problems. And so, if y'all, anyone out there that's worried about the coronavirus, if you could possibly just write down a few things that you're really grateful for, or a positive affirmation, or something that you can still do, that you know, some kind of an activity that you can still do and enjoy safely, to share with other people in the live chat comment section there. It would be great. I would be grateful, and other people would be. And I'll read things off. So, Nicholas loves medicine and people. I'm not sure. Hopefully natural medicines. Herbs and spices are great. Yes. I'm not afraid of the corona. Obviously, the doctors will save us with those toxic vaccines. Laughing out loud. Yeah. I'm so excited for that, huh? Green Borneo, Kratom. Thank you, John. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name Kratom, and I'm drinking my ginkgo tea lately and thinking somewhat better, and I'm not stuttering too much tonight, right? Sometimes I forget new names that I'm not really familiar with. Like, I can think of things that I've used for many, many years and that I'm continuing to use. People that I know that I work with regularly, but when it's something that I'm new to, it's hard for me to remember a name. That's my excuse. Okay, so my simple mind can figure out simple things. And this is one of the things that I'm really grateful for with me. I'm not a really technical person. Y'all know this. I like to keep it simple. And the reason that I like to keep it simple, like some of the reasons, are that I cannot put all my marbles in one basket. I can't put all my whatever in one thing. And and that's because I've had to work on my health holistically. I've had to do this and I've had to do that and I've had to do this and that, all these different things to keep a good balance between mental, physical, spiritual, emotional, work and play and this and that. And so if you get too deeply into something, if you learn something really, really great, there can be benefits to that. But I've not really delved into too many different things too technically. And that's because I just don't have time. There's only so much time in the day. Now, if I were to be able to somehow live communally with a bunch of people, then that frees up a lot of time for people, especially, depending on what they're doing to be able to make a living. The more you can do something that the more lucrative, the more you're able to pay for all your expenses and not have to work as much. That's how it is. But bear in mind, there are people out there that do a lot of different kinds of jobs that are really, really super important that I don't think that we're not grateful enough for. Just people that do everyday jobs. And one of the things that I totally agree with Bernie Sanders is that people need to be able to make a living wage. And and people that are making 8, 10, even $12 an hour and working full time, and I wish I could go back. I wanted to read this comment, this total loser comment from this girl named Kimmo, something like that, talking about how just a total a-hole conservative mindset in regards to people are lazy, they don't have enough money, and they're all on, the typical stuff that they'll say. People they don't work, and people that are really wealthy, they deserve all the money that they have. And to a degree, there's truth in the things that she was saying, but it was so tunnel vision and so much of it was BS, because there's an opposite side to every story. And there's a whole lot of people out there that work their butts off a lot harder, whether it be mentally, physically, whatever. They're just doing a job that it's not that lucrative. There's not a lot of technical involved in it or whatever. But some of them actually have a lot of technical skill, but they still don't pay that much. I have a friend that's a teacher down in Florida, and she doesn't make that much money. Teachers don't make that much money. They have to pay a lot of taxes, and they have to teach shitloads of ratty little kids. Not that they're all ratty, but a lot of them are. And so people need to be able to make a living wage, a decent wage, so that they can afford basics in their lives and at least have a little bit of fun. And I'm telling you, there needs to be, if the coronavirus gets really ugly and there are a lot of people that are really hurting, it's going to be a real test to the rich people in this country to being able to open their hearts and give. It's going to be a tremendous test for them. And if they don't, I'm telling you, things work in concessions. Concession, what's the word? Like a domino effect. Okay, so you get what you deserve beyond this world. And anybody that doesn't have faith, they might not know that and they may not believe that, but it's absolutely true that whatever you create in this world with your life, whatever you do with your life that you've been given, it's a test, and it's a means of being able to progress or digress. Are you going to digress, or go backwards, or are you going to move forward? That's the question. It's not just a matter of like with Donald Trump. It's not just a matter of like, well, how smart are you to be able to coordinate the building of a giant skyscraper with the cement people and the steel people and the glass people and the purchasing of the property and the rental of all the different office spaces and this and that and how much money you can make. And it's not a matter of that. That's not one of the higher things that a person's going to be rated on after they pass from this world. Real estate. It's not one of the higher things. I hate to tell you, some of you, but money is not that big a deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal in a sense that, like, do you know what to do with it? Do you know what to do with your money? And really, people have so much to learn. And that's all I want to talk about with that. Okay. Wait. My simple mind can figure out simple things, and I'm really blessed. Yeah, because like that, I've taught you guys things that you can really understand, that you can really see. Okay, well, yeah, I believe that'll probably work if I put a bunch of if I've got shoulder pain right here, and I put a bunch of blankets down and make it about that thick, and then I put my arm over the end of that, then my shoulder won't get near as much pressure on it, and then I won't have as much shoulder pain. That makes sense to me. And so I figure out some simple thing, I put 2 and 2 together and I try it out for myself, and if it works like these, if it works, then I'm like, well, is it feasible for me to make those and sell them? And if it is, then I go ahead and perfect that product. Just a little lint on it. I go ahead and perfect that product, and I tell you that this is a great product if it is. And this one is. This is a very, very good product. But check this one out here. I finished this one today, and that is bird's eye maple, my friends. That is a bird's eye maple, and it's because those little things look like bird's eyes. That side doesn't have those eyes. But in any case, it's maple, and it's really beautiful, and that is a 2-inch, I believe that's a 2-inch roller. Good for somebody up to 200 pounds. So I have a whole bunch of rollers in stock right now, and they're absolutely gorgeous. On this roller, every single little freaking thing on it is perfect. And that roller will last for 400 years, probably. You may have to redo the rubber on it after 30 years or 20 or something. It'll last a long time now. And it's a really great, great product. But it's just a simple product. But it works really fantastically well. So one of my biggest problems is impatience, and I expect things now. But like I was saying before, when I lost this, it wasn't just going to happen all of a sudden that I found it. And so whenever you get stuck like that, sometimes you really need to just say to yourself, okay, I need to allow that situation, whatever it may be, to just play itself out. It needs to play itself out, and I'm okay with that. Stop and sit and breathe and say to yourself a positive affirmation, something to the degree of, I'm okay with allowing this situation to play itself out. I know that it is going to all work out for the better. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be just totally fine. And I am so blessed to have all of these different things available to me. All kinds of things. All the things that you're blessed to have. And to not be like that really for a whole lot of us is just not acceptable. It's being spoiled, you know? It's spoiled. And we shouldn't be like that. We really shouldn't be like that. We should be happy with what we have. And so, let's move on. Thank customers. So, John S., thank you so much for your order, your recent order. Brandon D., thank you so much again for another order. Cedric in France, thank you. Thank you, Cedric, for ordering a wood roller from me. I really appreciate it. He's ordered something before, I can't remember. Catherine, once again, Catherine S., thank you very much. I'm glad that you and your sister are loving those pillows. Awesome. Sleep well. Lisa J., thank you, Lisa. Thank you for ordering something. Let's see what Lisa ordered. Lisa ordered a Millet Hole pillow with a zippered case. The Millet Hole pillow in olive green was $45, and the zippered option was $8 extra. And Lisa lives in Claremont, Florida. Thanks so much, Lisa. And Adam S. Bought something from me. Thanks so much. I'm not looking at the page where I can see everything that they purchased. I'm just looking at the list of people. Odilly bought something from me. Thank you, Odilly. Isn't that a cool name, Odilly? And Dolan. Dolan, that's a cool name too. And Dolan is from my mom's hometown, Logan, Utah. And his last name is very Scandinavian, just like my mom. John D. bought another pillow today, and I wanted to read to you real quick like what John D. said. He got an email from me today, and John says, "Hey, Brett, we have a big problem here. My wife loves the pillow you sent me." I just sent it to him like a week ago. "My wife loves the pillow you sent me. I tried to call you, but the call didn't go through." I have no idea why that didn't work out. "Can you send me another pillow with a girly color so we don't get them mixed up? Thanks, John." So John ordered a chocolate pillow, and I am going to send him this girly color for his wife. That's kind of girly, isn't it? This is Orchid Whispering Grass. That's pretty, yeah. Can you see that? So yeah, I'm going to send John another pillow because, of course, the pillow spouse envy happened again. If you don't buy two pillows, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get the pillow spouse stealing envy theft problem. Oh, Catherine sent me a tea. Cool. Oh, that is pretty. Good. Yes. Oh, and anyone that owns a pillow that wants an extra case, Catherine, you can order those, and the shipping is really cheap for them because they're really just very light. That's what I was going to say. Dallin sounds Nordic and No, it's Dallin is his first name, Dallin. But it's, yes, it sounds Scandinavian, very. And yeah. So there are many opportunities out there. Only entrepreneurial people like you, Brett, can make it happen. Please tell us what they are, Brett. Mad Village Mueller. What? Tell us what is. I can't remember. I've talked about a lot of different things, Mad Village. Okay, let's move on. I thank the customers and anybody else that's recently bought stuff from me. Thank you very much. It's been pretty slow though lately, y'all, and man, I could really use some business. And oh, and once again, like there are certain things that if you've been wanting something from me and you would like an extra good deal and you really don't have that much money, you can email me, Brett at brettsnaturalhealth.com, and it might be that I would give you a coupon code depending on what product that may be, but not pillows, because pillows are really on sale right now for as low as I can go. Okay. The rollers. The rollers, what? Let's see. Tell us what they are, Brett. The roller. Well, the rollers are my back rollers. And you could just go to my homepage on YouTube and look up rollers in the search box, and then you can watch a bunch of videos with those wooden spine rollers. Or if you go to the description box in this video and you scroll down, you will see the wood rollers link. You can click on that, and then there are a couple of videos right on there, madman, that you can watch and learn to get the gist of what the wooden spine rollers are. They're absolutely incredible because you can. I roll on mine every day, probably more than once every day, and crack the crap out of my back. They're made out of solid hardwood and natural rubber, and they're made precisionally by these two hands. Last for many, if not centuries. So yeah, and I have 9 of them right now in stock. And if you go to my site and you click on the drop-down menu and it says in stock and there's a number next to it, then you know that I have it ready to go and it can just go into a box and be immediately shipped. If it doesn't say in stock, that means that I need to make it, so you can still order it, but it'll be a few days before I've finished it. So, the next one is that I know the deeper truths about sex and relationships. So, it is true, in my humble opinion, that even though I don't have a lot of experience with having like a long-term committed relationship, I don't have a lot of experience with that. Hey, somebody just donated. Joe, is that you? Hey, Joe, thanks, man. So 100 pesos or 100 something like that. It's worth $10. Thanks, Joe. That's awesome, man. I really appreciate it. No, I don't sleep on the floor anymore. I used to sleep on the floor, and I kind of like sleeping on the floor. I would like sleeping on the floor probably better in the summer when the floor isn't really cold. But yeah, it's funny you asked me that because somebody asked me that last weekend. But yeah, I know the deeper truths about sex and relationships, even though I haven't had like a lot of serious committed relationships. And it's because I've analyzed things a lot. I really have a strong analytical ability because I have the moon in Virgo and because the moon is ruled by Cancer is ruled by the moon and my sun sign is Cancer. And I don't want to confuse you too much, but basically, I'm very analytical. I'm simple, but I'm analytical, and I just look at this and that and this and that, and I put two and two together, and oh, well, it must mean that. And so, um, yeah, as an example that I was telling a friend of mine not too long ago, my grandpa killed himself. And we're not going to talk about that in depth, but my grandpa killed himself with a gun. And basically, after my grandma died in, I believe, 91, something like that, my grandpa, I saw him a couple of times. He came down to visit us in San Diego a couple of times after that happened. And he just was not the same person. He was not the same anymore. There was something wrong with my grandpa. He was not happy anymore. You couldn't hardly get a smile out of him anymore. And I realized that over time I came to realize that it's not good to be stuck with little options in your life. In whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you have, you don't want to be in a situation of where you're like, well, if I lost that, I would be really, really screwed. How would I feel? How would I think? How would I be able to survive? How would I act if I lost this one? If the only thing that I could do in my life was pick up glasses and drink water. That's the only thing I had a talent for doing. Picking up glasses and drinking water. And then all of a sudden, I dropped the glass and it broke all over, and I didn't have any more glasses and I didn't have any more water. I guess that I would be in real trouble, wouldn't I? And so, all kinds of things. You don't want to just have one occupation, that thing that you can do for a living. You want to be very versatile. And for me, if you're married to one person and you're committed to that person, you need to at least have a mentality of understanding that that's not really, the truth of the matter is that that person isn't really the only person for you. What if something happens to that person? What if you just don't, what if you kind of go separate ways and you don't think and believe the same things that you once did? And it's absolutely possible that these things can happen. And my grandparents didn't eat well. They ate really well because they owned the grocery store. But they didn't eat good quality food. They ate all the crap that was at their grocery store. And that's largely what killed them. And that's another thing we got to talk about, because we need to put the coronavirus into perspective. Because you know how many people died of eating processed foods today around the world? Tens of thousands. Probably 10, 20. In the United States alone, just between heart disease and diabetes, something like, I think I figured like 6,000 people or something die just in one day. Just in one day. So put the coronavirus into its proper perspective and realize that there are other things. There's a stink bug. I got to throw them out. There are things that are worse, a lot worse still than the coronavirus. Hang on, I got to throw a stink bug out. See, he's in there now. So, yeah, I kind of skipped a couple there. I kind of skipped a couple things there. So, read Carlos's review. Okay, that's the next thing. Okay. Brett, I got this today. This is from Carlos. 8 years ago, I consulted with you by phone. You gave me some life coaching, and I made some decisions based on the advice you offered. I wanted to respond to express my gratitude. I followed your advice, and it was just what I needed to put me back on the right track. I explained my situation as basically a loner who didn't place much value on friends and relationships. You convinced me to cherish friendships with those who had true intentions and mutually beneficial goals, while disassociating myself from those who held materialistic and selfish agendas. Then I categorized the majority of friendships in the undesirable category, only valuing two. Only valuing two. Well, that's all right. Some people only have one friend. Some people only have a pet as their friend. Some people only have God as their friend. I also took your advice to seek a life partner, and after 4 failed attempts, I found her. Marriage and parenthood had a profound effect on my life choices and gave me a direction toward a happy life. Thank you for your guidance. Is that awesome? Is that awesome? See, that's what keeps me going. That and people buying my products so I can pay the bills. You know what I mean? So, yeah, thank you, Carlos C. Carlos C. from, I don't know where he's from. But you can read on my website. This is on the About page. Sometimes people will go to my About page where I talk about, where I'm from and what I went through and stuff. And they'll scroll down and leave a comment there. But you can leave comments or you can also leave a review if you really like my pillow. Who was it like my pillow? Catherine. Catherine liked the pillows that I sent her. Okay, so I wish I had that kind of money. Wow, $100. No, it's $10. Joe lives in Mexico. It's not that I haven't received $100. Once I got $150 cash from Switzerland. Cool, huh? In the mail. So, hey, Catherine. Yes, if you like my pillows, you could go to my website on the Millet Hole Pillow page and scroll all the way down, or you can just click on the little thing that says reviews, and it'll scroll you all the way down, and then you can write a review. But you should probably sleep on it for a little while, because I know you just barely got it. Okay, so the electric company. Okay, so the electric company came and cut down all the trees underneath the lines. And they do that so that the trees won't get messing with the power lines. And that's cool, that's logical, but I heard that they were also going to spray Roundup on all the foliage underneath the power lines. That is not a good thing. And a lot of people were up in arms around here over that because we don't want glycogen to be sprayed on our properties. And that's right where I'm planning on putting the garden now. So luckily they didn't spray Roundup on it, and you could tell because whenever they spray Roundup on things, it just kills everything dead. It's horrible. And so they didn't end up spraying the Roundup. They just cut down the trees. They had a whole bunch of Mexican workers down there with chainsaws for working for the phone company, Frontier. And they cut all the trees down underneath there, and that kind of exposed a new garden area for me. I'm sitting on the deck looking down there the other day because, see, there's no foliage pretty much still right now because it's winter. It's the end of winter time. I call it the beginning of spring now. But there's still no foliage covering all that area, and so you can see down there really easily. And I'm like, hey, that looks like a good garden place area down there. And I went down, and it certainly does. It certainly does look like a great space to start another garden area. And that is the plan, Stan. So, and the secondary thought of that was that, in the beginning, this is a perfect example of how you have to allow things to play out. Because when I heard them down there, okay, I ran down there and I'm like, "Hey, what the hell are you doing?" You know, and they're like, "We're from the phone company. We're cutting down the trees," you know. And I'm like, "Oh God, okay," because I thought it was just some people. Like I didn't know what the hell was going on down there. They're cutting down all the trees on the property. You know, freaked me out. So I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna cut down all the trees underneath the power lines, and I was all like kind of bummed out about it for the day, you know. But I realized that there was nothing that I could do about it, and now I see, oh, okay, I've got garden space. It's become apparent to me because they cut down all those trees that there's a perfect area underneath those trees that's now exposed to be a great garden area. And so everything has to play itself out with things like the coronavirus. And after it's over with, people will look back on it and be like, oh, well, look at all the good things that ended up happening from that. So you just have to figure out how to flow, how to go with the flow until it's all past, and make the changes that you need to make. Okay, added more holes to the orthotics. Okay, so now I've added more holes to my orthotics since I made them about a couple months ago. I've added more holes to them about 3 or 4 times now. And I've gone walking in these several times, and I want to show you what these look like now, because it's amazing how much support. Look at that. And look at how much they've conformed to my feet. That's like a mold of my feet. These are the best orthotics on earth. They're totally comfortable. They're not stiff like plastic orthotics. They're leather and durable, but they conform, and you get as much support as you need for your arch. Look at all that support. So, yeah. Get them at brettsnaturalhealth.com. If you scroll down to the description box, you will see the link for my custom orthotics. So I already showed you the roller. And okay, so you think a bad thought and what happens. So I mentioned this a little while ago. If you catch yourself having bad thoughts coming constantly into your head about something, you really got to stop yourself and blank your mind and go into your spiritual state of being, and maybe put your hand on your chest or double it up with another hand, say on your head, connecting your chest and your heart to your head. And this is called hang on, I forgot. Okay, here's the book. Whenever you connect your hands in 2 different places on the body, you're like, it's like a jump start on your car, on your car battery. Okay, so these are your healing tools, and if you put one on your head and one on your heart, you're actually doing what a Japanese massage modality called Jinsen Jitsu. And it was brought and made somewhat popular here in the United States by a woman, an old woman. I'm not sure if she's still alive now, but her name is Alice Burmeister. And here's the book, The Touch of Healing. And let's see, I haven't checked it out for quite a while. It doesn't have a lot of pictures on it, but it tells you about all these different ways to jumpstart your body by connecting two places. That's the basic gist of it, of Jinsen Jitsu, a Japanese healing modality that's somewhat similar to, obviously, Reiki. But Reiki is not, you don't actually touch people. You can if you want to, but with the Jinsen Jitsu, you actually do touch people in two different places. So you could touch them on their belly and their head. You could touch them on their belly and you can do it to yourself. See, this is the self Jinsen Jitsu. And maybe I'll make a video. That's a very good idea. How did I think of that? So self Jinsen Jitsu. Do the pet horses I feed when I can get the apples. I love carrots. I love more garlic and onions to boost my immunity. Corvid not like processed food nor choosing to eat that crap. I'm immunocompromised and could catch it. Horses are great pets. Very loving creatures. Hi from Costa Rica. Hi Deb from Costa Rica. Oh, I see pesos. Yes. Okay, so yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can do, but just making a mental effort to stop yourself from thinking about bad thoughts, that's what I've been doing lately, because I've been getting into a slump over this freaking thinking about the coronavirus, and you really need to, like I said, be grateful for what you have and start thinking positive affirmations. And a positive affirmation is something that you say to yourself over and over again. And eventually, hopefully it's true, think of some positive things like I can do it. This is very simple positive affirmation. There's so many things that you've done in the past and you know that you've succeeded. Think about some things that you've succeeded on and associate with those things that you've succeeded with wanting to achieve something that you're wanting to achieve now. It may be just kind of a general achievement kind of a thing. Like you may be worried. You may be worried about your job, for instance. A lot of people are worried about their jobs with this coronavirus thing and being laid off or whatever. Well, you can do it. You can get through this trouble. I can do it. I can get through this trouble. We can all get through it. Some people may not get through it. A lot of people aren't very healthy and they might not make it through this. Nature has an incredible way of helping to facilitate what is needed to happen. It's nature at work. It's been like that for God knows forever and ever. Not just here on this planet, probably on other planets too. It's how things work. So, yeah, don't get stuck in bad thoughts and feelings because that can drag you down. Do something to think to yourself, what can I do to get out of this bad frame of mind? And it will come to you. If you ask, people say the power of prayer is so important, etc. Well, they're absolutely right. Connecting with creation, however you want to describe it, giving your life over to Jesus, however you want to describe it, connecting with creation for me is a great way to do that, describe it. And I'll just sit and get quiet and come back to center. I do a lot of different things to come back to center. Center is the peaceful place. And one of the things I'll do is I'll clean the kitchen and I'll sweep the floor and I'll do some cleaning around the house, or I'll answer emails and I'll get everything caught up. What I'll do is I'll get everything caught up. And then I can just go sit down in front of the heater lately, since it's wintertime and it's cold. And maybe I'll just sit and I'll sit with chakra on my lap. She was sleepy. Okay, so, and I'll just sit and I'll connect with creation and I'll be like, Lord, we've been working really hard and we really need your guidance. And I'll sit peacefully, and like magic, the ideas will start coming into my head for what I need to do. And the other day, I just magically realized that if I just give people as much as I can give them, certainly they'll give back to me because it's the law of attraction. I shouldn't expect people to give back to me because not everyone can. But generally, you know that if you have something to offer to people that you think is valuable, certainly they're going to want to purchase it, or certainly they'll be grateful for you for giving it to them. And so I just know how things work. It's so sleepy. This one is such a good girl. This wants a tummy rubbing. Okay, can you go lay down back on your dog bed again? She's gonna be 13 soon. She's gonna be 13 soon. She's doing better and better since we got her off of the mass-produced chicken. That's kind of another thing, y'all. My body is gradually drying up. The longer I stay off the mass-produced chicken, the less meat I eat, the more greens I eat. It's just basically how it is. The more exercise I do. And I'm thinking also that one of the things that I really want to focus on this year is more exercise. Now, last year, I started to get into being able to exercise more significantly, and I definitely plan on increasing that this year. Definitely. So, let's see. We're so reliant upon each other, and yes, we are. This world has become very reliant upon each other. I think that we've become over reliant upon each other, and people don't take care of themselves enough. That's what I teach people, how to take care of themselves. And you're going to learn. You're going to learn. A lot of people are going to learn that it's required to take care of yourself. And it's easier for somebody that's like a Cancer like me, a homebody, because I like being at home and I'm sociable sometimes, but it's good for me. I'm okay with being alone a lot, although I do get lonely sometimes. But it gives me an opportunity to take care of myself. And I've always been a believer, because I've learned from experience that if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And when you do it right, you can generally do it better than if somebody else is doing it, because it's your stuff. And when you're concentrating, when you're focusing on doing something for yourself, then you're going to take more time and make more effort and do a better job. And that's the same with self-healing, you know? You can spend every day working on your shoulder that's sore. You can spend every day squeezing your neck, and, anytime that you need to do these things, So we need to get less reliant upon other people, but we need to just make a lot of changes. Some of us are scared depending on, okay, so with the coronavirus, some of us are scared because of a lot of different reasons. Some people aren't so scared. If you don't have a whole lot of money in the bank and you're worried about your job, then obviously you're going to be somewhat scared. And I can't tell you exactly how all this is going to play out. I just don't know. Nobody knows yet. This is uncharted territory. But you're just going to, like I said, have to allow things to play out. Allow things to play out and stay cool and know that everything is working out in the way that it's supposed to be working out. So the universe throws me a bone. And that's kind of how it's been for me. And I've come to the realization that I'm never going to have it easy because for some reason the universe wants to really test me. And I don't know if you guys think this same thing or not about your lives, but it seems to me that as soon as things seem to be getting a little bit easier for me, a wrench gets thrown into my life. And then when it gets to be really, really hard and I just can't freaking deal with life anymore, the universe throws me a bone. And that's kind of how I know that I'm not really in control that much of this whole situation, because I see things. I have the intuitive ability to see that things happen that aren't really explainable. You can't explain all the things that happen in your life, the magical things. That timing is so incredible that it's like, wow, that just happened to happen at the exact time that I needed it to happen. Or, some kind of a catastrophe happened, and what I thought was a catastrophe actually turned out to be a blessing. And so that's where if you have, hopefully, some intuition and you're courageous and you have some faith, that's where all of that comes into play and gets you through the night. Right? Worked my ash off today, and then, yeah. So that pertains to coming to the center. So, yeah. I get out on a limb. I get clear out, clear out on a limb, and then I work my way back to the trunk of the tree and get centered and connect with creation. And yeah, after I'm done with this tonight, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to go finish a couple of dishes first, and then I'm going to go sit down in front of the heater, and then I usually will pick a couple of fortune papers. You can buy, or you can get free a full set of my fortune papers on my website under miscellaneous cool items. You can just scroll down to the fortune papers, and then you can download them off of my website, and then you can cut them all into little strips, and they look like if you make them into colors, they'll look like this. And if you put them in a special jar, they look like this. And speaking of which, I would love to pick a few of these for y'all if you would like one. All you have to do is write a little comment that says, yes, please, I want one of those fortune papers read for me. She's so cute. Yes, she is. Oh, yeah, she is beautiful. What a beautiful doggie. She looks like a good little companion. Yes, I've had Chakra for almost 13, since she was a baby, 6 weeks old. I always wanted a golden retriever, and so I forked out $400 for a dog. It's the first dog I ever bought for money. I don't know if I can take another night of my wife stealing my millet hull pillow. Well, that's what I mean. I mean, seriously, you'll have to buy you another one. Yes, read me one. Okay, Linda, here you go. Linda, you get this fortune paper right here. It reads, I can think about the best days of my life when I am down and recreate them if I choose to. Yeah, think about the good old days, and that can bring you up. That can bring you up when you're feeling down. Does that ring a bell for you, Linda? Does that sound like something that would be good? Thinking about good times from the past. Okay, Spacey. This one's for Spacey. Oh, and Kim Ray wants one. Okay, Spacey gets this one. It reads, there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. An old friend, Derek, told me that. And I'm sure that it's an Asian proverb from God knows how old it is. There is no way to peace. Peace is the way. He also wrote one in here. It goes, love is my religion. You like that one? I know everyone's. Most of these, though, I personally wrote. And so let's see. Kim Ray. This one is for Kim Ray. Right there. If I hear, oh, this is one of my funny ones, okay? If I hear some rap music, I'll stay calm and quietly leave. There's a couple of funny ones in there. That's what you get. Maybe that's a clue for you, Kim Ray, that you just need some. Okay, Joe wants one. All right, Joe, here you go, Brett, buddy. Here you go. You're going to get a good one because you donated $10 to me. I'm sure it's going to be a good one, Joe. Man, I hate my life and it really sucks around here. No, that's not what it says. It's a long one, though, Joe. Look at that. That's a long one. It reads, I don't have to bond to typical stereotypes, traditions, or mindsets from the past. I can create my own life based on joy, logic, and uncommon sense. I kind of stuttered on that one, so I'll read it over, and it's a long one. I don't have to bond to typical stereotypes, traditions, or mindsets from the past. Isn't that great? I can create my own life based on joy, logic, and uncommon sense. Okay. Okay. Funny look. Camera. Deb wants one. Deb wants me to read one. Here you go, Deb. Right? It reads, in time, everyone will be ready for the truth, including myself. I need only be patient. Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm pretty sure that a lot of these I channeled. I was wanting to write a whole lot of these, and I actually passed these out by the thousands in downtown Asheville, North Carolina. I would make a whole bunch of them, and then I would get them cut. And I didn't make them myself. I had the copy shop make them, and they cut them for me. And I'd go and I'd pass them out by the freaking thousands in Asheville. And but I really felt as though I was channeling when I wrote these a lot of the time. Some of them came from me, but others came from some place beyond. Okay. All right. You're welcome, Spacey, and everybody that likes us. Okay. So anyways, like I said, you can go and download these on my website. Um, so, yes, look at what you've got and think positive affirmations. Those things are so really important. And if I could do those things, not just when I'm feeling down, but if I could do those things as a habitual, beneficial thing that I do daily, it would be really, really good. But you have to get to a point. It's not just a mental thing. It's not just it's not just a mental thing that we need to focus on. Because see, if you're feeling really bad physically, it's not really feasible. It's not really possible. It's not really maybe even beneficial to try and focus on being a really positive person mentally. Because you're going through all of this, like if you're going through a lot of emotional pain, you're just focusing on that one thing. I tell you this from experience because there was a time in my life when I was just crying all the time over my father's alcoholism when I was going to Al-Anon. There's all these different things that I've gone through that I had to focus solely on just that one thing. And if somebody had come up to me and said, Brett, why don't you just think of positive affirmations? Like write down a whole bunch of positive affirmations. I may not be able to even deal with that at all at that time. And so bear in mind when I tell you some things, you need to take what you like and leave the rest. You need to take what you can do and put the other things in the back of your mind. It's okay to listen to me tell you about a lot of different things that I've done, whether it be sprouting or whether it be reading a book on acupressure. But it's good to just remember, because sometime in 10 or 20 years or maybe in another lifetime, it may come to you because I told you it now or somebody else told you about something now that you remembered in the back of your head, you put on the back burner, and you're like, hey, maybe I'll get into that now because somebody reminded you of the value of that thing. Sometimes it takes years or several suggestions from people before you're ready. So tomorrow was the full moon in Virgo, and I already talked about that a little bit, and I don't know that much about astrology, so let's move on. I'm feeling more quiet and also compassionate. Okay, so when I was vegan for 4 years, I was radically transformed, in my opinion, to being a lot more of a compassionate person. I was kind of forced into it too fast. And I didn't feel comfortable in my own shoes. But I could really notice how I was like kind of more wimpy. I was more feminine. I was more compassionate. I was kinder. I was more yin. I was kind of in some ways more quiet, but I did not feel as though I was comfortable with all of that at all. And that's because I had a bunch of other changes to make before I could continue with that. And one of those changes was that I've told you before, I needed to move to the country. And I needed to get settled in with living in the country a lot. Clean air and clean water and quiet before I could continue on with working towards veganism. And that's often how it is. I've noticed that with so many different things in my life that I'll get stuck in one thing that I'm working on and I cannot progress any farther. I'll hit a brick wall. And I've likened it to a circle. I've likened healing to a circle of where you see the mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional aspects of your healing all encompassing and circling this circle, and creation is in the center and you're working towards that center point. But if you push too hard on one side and you're really trying to get in towards the center by achieving You're trying to connect completely with God just by doing some mental thing over here. But you're not taking care of yourself physically over here. And the physically starts to bulge out more and more and more. And pretty soon you get out of balance and you're overweight. You weigh 290 pounds and you're mentally you're freaking brilliant, and you can meditate for 8 hours straight every single day. All these different mental things that you have a strong discipline with, right? But your diet is horrible, and eventually you have all this bacteria and parasites in your digestive system, and they start eating away, and you get a diverticuli, and eventually your diverticuli explodes, and and shit is going into your body cavity, and then you die. I know, it's gross, but I'm just giving you an example of how you can get out of balance. You have to work on all the different things a little bit at a time, and you keep working towards the center, and you keep working towards the center. But the thing that I'm kind of working on right now is more of a mental calming. And I know it doesn't seem like that. but when you're me, you know that anything that you can do to calm your mind, it's a really good thing. Did I tell you that I have all kinds of great products like Millet Whole pillows and body pillows and orthotics and wood rollers and foot massage tools that you all really need? And if you go to brettsnaturalhealth.com, you'll find them, most of them, on sale right now. And I have yoga bolsters too. Does anybody here like to do yoga? Because my buckwheat whole yoga bolsters are great to stretch on. And pretty soon I am going to make a new set of those for me, and I'll show you how to use them. Additionally, anyone that would like a free demonstration live on Facebook Messenger or on Skype, we can talk about, if you're wondering, like you're having problems with how to use your orthotics or how to use the foot friend massage tool or whatever, I will take, absolutely, with no doubt in my mind, if you friend me on Facebook or if you friend me on Skype, we can talk live, and I'll do a 15-minute consultation with you for free and show you exactly how to use a wood roller or exactly how to work on your feet, and I'll answer questions about anything that you want to answer. If you want a holistic consultation for a full hour with me, we can talk about all kinds of things. And pretty soon, I'm going to be doing some live, free, holistic consultations on the streets of Asheville, North Carolina, with people that are willing to sit down with me and go and talk on video, and you can see exactly how I do a holistic consultation with people. You'll see people talking about things. I've done this before. People talking about their problems and their relationship problems and their diet problems, all kinds of things, and I'll talk to them and be as candid and honest and kind and all of that as I can be, and you'll see exactly how I do a consultation. So let's see. Oh, getting parched. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. It's so awesome. Thank you so much. So, how important the internet has been for me. So, as you can imagine, living out here away from a lot of people, civilization, cities, all that, I'm by myself for the most part, and the internet is hugely so important for me. It's so important. Yeah, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have the internet, but the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I think that a lot more people are going to, in the near future, because of the coronavirus, they're going to be doing a lot more things from the internet. Like, for instance, you can take classes, kids can take classes at home. Now, think about that, how valuable would it be for people, for kids, at least for a while, to be able to stay home with their parents and do things at home and not have to drive anywhere, not have to spend time on buses, this and that, to be able to do their homework at home and spend more time with their parents or whatever. There are going to have to be adjustments made, but the internet is a powerful offsetting tool for something like this so-called catastrophe, this so-called pandemic. And so there are ways that we have, and we're so blessed. We're so blessed to be able to have different ways to be able to get through our lives. And for me, I don't know how I could live out here in the country and not lose my mind without being able to talk with y'all and other people and Facebook friends, etc., and the internet, the power of the internet. So please give a thumbs up. Please give a thumbs up for my video here. I really appreciate that. And John called me with a big problem. I already told you about that. So we ordered him another pillow, and I'll make that tomorrow morning for him and send that out to California. And I'm going to make some bird perches. So another thing that is on my agenda soon, hopefully soon, is that I have a bunch of dowels that I was going to make some kind of a, I was making, can't remember what I was going to make with those dowels, but I have a bunch of dowels that are probably about an inch around, and they would be absolutely perfect for bird claws, my chickens. And so I'm going to make a bunch of bird perches out, and I'm sure that the chickens will really enjoy it. One of the things that birds like to do, all kinds of birds, including chickens, is they like to just sit and roost. They like to sit on a thing that, like, they'll fly up in the bushes and stuff and sit on and stand on branches. They like to balance on branches and sit there and with the wind, a little bit of wind, and they enjoy that. As you can imagine, like if you were a bird, you'd probably really like to enjoy perching on some kind of a perch. Well, I've got all these dowels that I'm going to put up. I'll have to put up some kind of a two things to hold the dowel, something to that degree. But it'll be cool for them. You have to really take care of your animals. I mean, humans are animals. Imagine if you were a chicken and you were out pecking around, you were doing your chickeny thing, You would want to have something fun to do. And you got to take care of your dogs. You really got to take care of your dogs and cat. You know what cats like to do? Cats like to claw things, and there are things that you need to do to facilitate a cat having a good life, because that cat gives you a lot of wonderful things. In your life, you get to pet them, and you get to hear them doing their purring, and you get to hold them. That's one of the best things about pets. Just holding your pet and cuddling with them, rubbing their bellies, and Chakra likes to get her butt itched, And it's really good to brush them and take them for walking times. I call it a walking time. And feed them good, healthy food and stuff. And canned salmon is a really, really healthy food. Even though it's canned, yeah, I know. Most of us can't obviously afford to feed our pets fresh salmon. But you can probably canned salmon once in a while. And incidentally, another thing, I ordered a case of canned mackerel. Check it out. You can go on Amazon. If you have an Amazon Prime membership, you can order a case of canned chub mackerel for $22. It was $21 and some odd cents, delivered right to your door. 12 cans. It's less than $2 a can. It's like $1.80 a can. And that's 15 ounces, which is almost a pound. Now, bear in mind that this chub mackerel has a lot of water in it. It's about probably 25% water, so it's not as good as the salmon in that regard, but it's still fairly cheap, and it is a wild animal. It's a wild fish, and it's fairly healthy. Okay, so positive affirmations and bird purchase. We're nearing the end, y'all. We're nearing the end. So I'm eating less and feeling better. And my muscles and my joints and everything that have been so inflamed and in so much pain for so long, especially when I moved out to the country and my body just started purging toxins. In the beginning, it was hell, but guess what? It's starting to get better now. This is one of my greatest blessings. And it's not just a blessing, it's a deserved blessing because I have worked so hard, y'all. I'm telling you, I have worked and worked and worked and worked and worked. And mentally, sometimes when I was just so down and I needed a hand up with comments from y'all, or I needed a lift up with orders from y'all, I got it when I asked for it. And I am so blessed to have y'all, I'm telling you. Of course, there's always going to be the buttholes out there, but that's, you know, they have their crap to go through, no pun intended. Everyone has their stuff to go through. And it doesn't mean that I have to listen to them, and I don't, so I just block them. But that's another lesson for you. Just like that guy that wrote me today, Carlos. Carlos said, I explained my situation as basically a loner who didn't place much value on friends and relationships. You convinced me to cherish friendships with those who had true intentions and mutually beneficial goals, while disassociating myself from those who held materialistic and selfish agendas. That's what Carlos wrote to me today. That's what I helped him with 8 years ago. And he was blessed to have my help, and I was blessed to be able to help him. When you get mutual blessings, what is better than that? What can be possibly any better than everything is all good? You don't always get that with money. You don't always get that with religion. You don't always get that with a whole lot of things in this world. It's always, not always, but it's often a matter of somebody feels ripped off, somebody feels gypped, somebody got the crappy end of the stick. But that's seldom the case when I do holistic consultations. And it's seldom the case when I come on and make a video or a live thing, and I tell you that I'm hurting, and you guys all support me all the way, in all regards. So, thanks, everybody. So, I know how you feel. I know how you feel regarding a lot of things, because I have felt those things. And you should know that people out there, whether they're able or willing to admit it or not, we've all felt a lot, not all, but a lot of the same things, a lot of the same thoughts. And it helps you to go back and remember that because it enables you to put yourself in the shoes of other people. It enables you to do that. And that is so important because it humbles you and makes you understand that you're just a human, and we're all very much the same in a lot of ways, although we are different in a lot of ways. but we can be more accepting and more compassionate with people and understand that we've all been there. Free eggs. Free eggs. So, right now, let me show you what I have, friends. Holy crap. Those are eggs from my chickies. Now, some of them are small, and some of them are pretty darn big. But eggs are something that can be sent with orders. And since I'm so grateful to y'all, I am definitely going to send some eggs with some of these orders. And as long as I can not go over my weight with the appropriate whatever, if somebody's ordered a pillow and the shipment weighs 8 pounds and 3 ounces, well, that means that I've got quite a bit of ounces to add to that shipment that I can still add to that shipment and still be able to send it for the same rate, up to 9 pounds, right? And so I'm definitely going to put these in a really good container and put a plastic bag around them just in case. But these shells are super thick, and I am definitely going to send some gratitude eggs along with orders for people. And some of you may be thinking, like, eggs? Eggs? Like, what do I need with eggs? These are not just any eggs, people. These are eggs from totally organically fed and totally range-free chickens. And they are the fluffiest freaking eggs. They are the healthiest eggs that you will ever eat. And the more green it gets outside, the healthier these eggs are getting. And these are not cheap eggs. Even though they're not that big, I'm still selling these for $5 a dozen. Now I'm going to, and after they get bigger, $6 a dozen. So the plan is to give people that I really like and adore eggs with their orders. So order you a Millet Whole pillow, and you'll probably get some eggs with your order. Now, eggs don't have to be refrigerated. For those of you that are wondering, they do not have to be refrigerated, and they last a long time because they're completely inside a shell that's sealed all the inner ingredients in there. And eggs will last for at least a month. No refrigeration, no yada yada. Now the orders only take a few days. And these eggs are like practically right out of the chicken. They're so fresh. They've not been on any trucks or sitting in any warehouses, nothing. They're super, super, super fresh. So how much for a dozen eggs? Like I said, I'm selling these for like $5. I don't know how much I could actually sell. I could send you a thing of eggs. I'm not sure how much it would cost, but it's more than a pound. I could send like a half a dozen eggs for really cheap. There's a certain weight limit that you can. I'll have to figure it out, and it depends on how big the eggs are. But there is a certain weight limit that you can send, I believe, up to 1 pound USPS for about $4 or something. I'll have to look it up. Anyways, that's the plan, Stan. Okay, I already put the coronavirus into context, but you can talk to people live on Facebook. I already talked about that. You can come stay at my Airbnb. I already talked about that. And you can ask for a discount code on certain products, and I may give you one to use on my website if you're really interested in one of my rollers, for instance, or if you're really interested in orthotics, for instance. and you really want a discount code because you can't afford what I'm asking, which is still totally reasonable, I would consider giving you one. Like, for instance, Cedric in France really wanted one of my rollers the other day, and he asked for a discount code. And I knew that it was going to cost $60 to ship a roller over to France, and so I gave him a 10% off additional coupon code, and he saved $11 and some odd cents. So that made it that made that expensive shipping less painful. And I am willing to do that because I care about you guys and because you support my channel, my emotions, and all of that stuff. And because I need the money. It's hard to peel fresh eggs, but if you drop them into boiling water for 17 minutes, they peel easily. Yes? That's a good price for eggs, bro. Here, Organic Ranch eggs go for 48 pesos for a dozen. That's around $2.40 USD. Okay. Okay, on that topic, fish, yeah, did you tell some smaller fish, smaller mercury-free, since, yeah. Yeah, those mackerels are fairly small fish, I think. Yeah. Okay, so that is about it, everybody. That is about it for one night, and that's been 2 hours and 12 minutes of talking and gabbing and stuff like that. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. The links to all my products and various things, like if you want to become a Patreon donator, all of that are in the description box below. And I hope that y'all have a really good week. Remember to keep it positive, as much as positive as you can be. And don't let yourself get down about anything. And when you do, focus on the things that you can do. There are things that you have no control over, and there are things that you can do for yourself. Focus on those things, because it makes no sense to focus on things that you can't do. Wishing you many blessings and an awesome week. Prosperous and joyful and sunshine. Yes. Potentially warmer weather and sunshine.